All right, so let me begin this amazing Harmony Power broadcast. I want to welcome Dr. Lynda Cramer to this broadcast. I have to say that I'm blown away to have this connection after watching a video yesterday and being so compelled to reach out. Just to give you a little bit of a background, Harmony Power is the first uh, program to have a mandated uh, anti-bully organization in a major city where we mandated throughout the entire city. And,
Wow.
kids have 33 days to change the world. And on the 33rd day, they get the Harmony Power Wars and the report card. So it's having a profound, uh, long-term impact on children. And in this one major city. Now, New York City's just signed on board, not for the mandate. They want to have it as much as they can. And they certainly would like to see the mandate, but it has to come grassroots first. But my belief is that's going to be all over the planet before I pass on, because I believe that this is the pathway to the future that this new Earth everyone's talking about. I believe Harmony Power is the pathway because all over the planet, the cry that children are doing with the bullying and the mass shootings, their cry is that they're not being heard, and we're trying to use this old paradigm of academics and this old paradigm of the way that we discipline children, which is so wrong, all recognizing negative behavior, forcing them to learn things that are not their true passions, not who they truly are. Me, it's about them defining themselves. So that's what I do. So I don't just recognize children, but I recognize people that are impacting the planet because that's impacting the children. And it's all one and the same to me. And that's what I thought about you. I said, your story is compelling because it's simple and it's powerful. It was very real. I didn't feel like anything about it was a stretch of the imagination. The message was beautiful. And that's why I said, got to have you on my Harmony Power broadcast. It makes all the sense in the world. So thank you for being on
Thank,
my show.
thank you so much for having me. The honor is all mine. And as I've just said off camera, now that I've had the opportunity to research the work that you're doing and the opportunities that you're giving to other people, I feel so honored to be a part of that magic that you're creating. And as you said, it's not just about the children, it's about globally coming to a point where we understand that we don't have to be so offended, or we don't have to be so judgmental anymore, where we can just accept people for who they are without having to belittle or judge others. But we create people now to be their full and best potential, whereby starting off with the kids, it has to start with adults teaching them how to have those better footprints in that sand, metaphorically, for their futures. And I can't tell you how amazed, shocked, and absolutely in awe I am of the work that you're doing. So I am so humbled and honored to be a part of this. When I received your email yesterday, I was absolutely shell shocked that there are people out there who are truly and genuinely trying to make better for the kids and the future of humanity. So thank you so much for having me here today. It's my
It's
honor. It truly is.
well, it's my honor, my pleasure. And I have to say that, what I realized, I went to different cities throughout the United States, 17 cities to be exact. And what I realized is that, we recognize negative behavior through the kids getting suspended, expelled, going to jail. It made no sense. And I know that same paradigm holds in some other countries. Like it's an international phenomenon that this is all we've known how to do is, even when your parents raised you, they recognize the bad and so little of the good and want to know, why is my child behaving so badly? Well, because if you don't recognize the positive behavior, make that front and center, you're going to have a child who's an angry child, a child who bullies, a child who ends up in jail at some point. And it's been like that for
Yes.
centuries. It's like, this is the new
Yes.
earth. This is the new thing and I said, this is not just randomly giving awards. The rule is that 33% of the population has to get the award in the schools. So 1 out of 3, you need a mass volume. You can't just randomly give awards out. It's more like a collective effort. So when I go into an event, for example, usually if a guest speaker comes in, it's all about them. I walk in, it's a big concert, and the show created it's all about them. And then I show up like an added bonus where they see, oh, here's the founder. And then they get to hear my background and I was bullied a little bit, but it's so little about me and it's all about them. It's the opposite
Yeah.
of
And
these
that's
anti-bully strategies I've seen. So I just wanted to give you that background because you seem so passionate, as I am.
and that's exactly why I started my YouTube channel,
Yes.
because even I've had this experience back in 2001 where I had this glimpse of what peace truly can be. And so that's why now I educate people so then they can become their best versions of who they are as well. So you and I are on the same page here, totally. It's not about us with what we're doing, it's educating others so then they can be their full best version as well, moving forward. So then they have that ripple effect on their community, they have that ripple effect on their own family units as well, where we break that cycle of bullying, harassment, toxicity, dysfunctional families, etc., where we break that habit that we've had for generations and generations, and we start coming into that global awareness of becoming peaceful and loving, where we're more attuned to be, I will call heavenly or angelic, by showing compassion, understanding, most of all, forgiveness and love for all
Mm,
beings on this planet. Mm.
I love it. And it's exactly why I have you on the show. Just hearing you
Oh,
speak
look at
is
me.
it
I'm actually crying, because when I
it's
do get
music.
passionate about this, my eyes water, so
Yeah,
bear with me. I'm not
yeah,
upset. I'm actually
yeah.
just in awe of who you are today as
Yeah.
well.
Well,
This
George,
is my honor to be here, such a privilege. Such a privilege.
here's the joy. When I go on stage with it, when I go to these schools, it's hard not. I've been through so much pain, suffering, bullying myself. So I see children and I see what's happening and what will happen in the future is beautiful. It's
Yes.
really, and that's what people are not realizing, that this pain that everybody's enduring,
Yes.
it's all going to come to like this change that it's so incredible. They don't even realize it. Like
That's having a right. Problem with the connection. That's
Try again in a little bit.
excuse that
yeah.
background. That was Siri talking. I was trying
Yeah.
to avoid that.
It's okay. It's okay. And that's, we have these little glitches at perfect opportunities, because that just shows that not everything in life goes according to our plans. Not
No.
everything goes in accordance with our wants and our desires. And it's how we handle those little hiccups or those roller coasters in life. So when we do go downwards, how do we stop that spiral occurring? So we pull ourselves out of that well of despair, if you want to call it that. So then we can get back on top of things, like going over that metaphorical mountain again, where we can laugh at situations like technology playing up. We can laugh at people who are doing their best, because we're being proud of them in our own way. And that's, I'm proud of you. You're in America, I'm in Australia. And look at this connection that we've got today. Even though we're having a little bit of internet issues, it doesn't matter
No.
at the end of the day. It's the energy that we're creating globally at this point that is making people also feel that static electric feeling that they want to do their best as well. So I always say thank you whenever bad things happen to me, because it's always an opportunity to be better after it. Yeah.
100%. I always tell people my trauma is my power. It's in other words, I was on the streets with my mother when I was, between ages of 3 and 6.5. And, in homes, in and out of places. It was a very challenging time because she had a terrible addiction and it was a hard, but I loved it in the sense that without it, I have no empathy. I have no connection. Well, without the bullying, I have no understanding of people's pain. So people don't realize that trauma is your power. Trauma is not, and I don't,
Absolutely.
I want to remember. I'm happy to remember the past. It doesn't mean that I feel
Yes.
bad about myself or any of that. To me, when I do a recall, I remember the pain, but I'm able to feel the joy of in the now. And
Yes.
then also show people that all this suffering is part of the evolution. It's like you need a revolution to have an evolution in ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It only takes one to stand up. And I like being that one who stands up. You know, I admit I don't like washing my car. So on my back window, when it's all dusty, I put in messages like patience, just words on my back window. Patience makes us love more, or
Mm.
why hate, with full of love hearts all around it in the dust. And then I wash it off and let the dust go all over my car. So I love driving down the road with all these little messages for people to, um,
Mm.
don't be in such a hurry, because being in a hurry is chaos, that sort of stuff. So, I've taken photos of some of the cars, when I leave the messages on my back, and people go past and they give me the thumbs up. And they're now feeling that message that I want to be, because it only takes one to stand up. And imagine if three stand up. Imagine if 30 stood up. Imagine if a whole country would stand up. Then we eliminate all this negative environment that's been instilled in us previously, like a war. It's like an inner war where,
That's
it starts with children, you know, and unfortunately, our society, it teaches us to be competitive. All our sport is
mm.
always one team or one person against another. But we look at competition is, it's not striving to be the best on the podium. It's striving to be the best inside yourself. And it doesn't matter if you come 49th out of 50 participants. As long as you try your best to be your best version, how can you ever then say that you're 49th in line? It doesn't work like that, because we don't compare, we don't compete. As long
Well,
as
the
we
thing is,
try and strive our best.
when you say strive, when you strive, you thrive. That's all it is, right? So it's like when you're in that momentum,
Yeah,
there is no destination. The victory's in the process. It's not the destination. The victory's in the process. There's not an end place. Everyone's looking for that end place. And that's why when
yes,
people sometimes they get to a certain place and they come down because they were never in the process to begin with. You have to stay in
that's
the
right.
process and the love of being, the love of connecting is where we're supposed to be. And like in your, people should definitely go on to and see all of these videos, books, because I think that there's so much there. I haven't explored, but the little I explored, when you talked about words, the power of words, like when you connected with God and divine, when you died and came back, the power of what we say is defined. Our self-talk defines everything that happens to us. So we're creating this reality by what we're saying.
Yeah,
And I tell
that's
people they
right.
have to, and that was I found to be, I knew it, but hearing your experience of that being said to you in this reality, and that of course you're also the message of the new earth and the new world that's coming very soon. People don't even realize how things
Yes.
can go from a tragic time to a blissful time. People don't realize that the switch is right in front of
Yeah.
us. I'm
Yes.
just saying. So please share with a little bit with me about your near-death experience, if you could.
Yeah, certainly. And I held it within for a long time, because I was scared about what people would judge me by. So, in a
Mhm.
nutshell, back in 2001, I was clinically dead for 14 minutes, confirmed by paramedics. And I openly say that I went to heaven for 5 years. It was an extremely long time where I found myself walking extended distances through mountain ranges, over fields of flowers, down by streams and lakes, I was talking to people for thousands of hours if you could length a time of conversation. So I was in heaven for an extremely long time where I learnt valuable lessons, how to be compassionate, kind, how to see perspective of others so we don't judge or accuse them. But then I went into my life review, which is where we have to judge ourselves for what we've done to ourselves. And that's really where it honed in on me, where I'm not responsible for the thoughts of somebody else. I'm responsible for the thoughts that I create. What we think, we create. So if I think today that my feet are sore, or I've got to go to a doctor, or I'm not good enough, that's what I create. So that's why you see a lot of people keep going back to the doctor. They keep telling themselves they're no good in a way of mental health, where they diminish their own self-worth because they think they're not good enough. So the more positive our thoughts are, the more we keep telling ourselves like daily affirmations, and the more that we keep telling ourselves that our state of mind and body is not reliant on what the thoughts are of other people. I think Eleanor Roosevelt was the one who summed it up the best when she said, "What other people think of me is none of my business." And that's so true to consider that, because we are the ones who dictate who we are, what we are, and who we will be in our future. It's our own thoughts of what we say to each other, ourselves, that we manifest, like the law of attraction dictates. We manifest our own mental and physical health by believing in our true self. You know, I've had a lot of injuries. I was in hospital off and on till I was 2. I had major surgery 15 years ago, 216 internal stitches. I've had a brain tumor, I've had throat cancer, and I've also got a broken neck where I should be a quadriplegic right now. So
Wow.
I haven't got any of those things anymore, because I tell myself that I am healthy. I tell myself that just because a doctor or an x-ray shows a condition, I personally am not going to create that. So I live by exceeding with mental health in people, how to get through depression, anxiety, how to get through feelings of self-esteem issues, how to get through issues where we are in toxic relationships, etc. And a toxic relationship could be with a pet, sibling, parent, co-worker, teacher. It could be any environment, but it's all basically the same. And it's as soon as we connect with our inner self and say to ourselves, we are the best version we will ever be. And that is all we ever need to tell ourselves, because we're all striving to get through the battles that we all face every day. We are all victims, if you want to call us victims. We're all victims where we've had bad stuff happen to us. But it's at the
Yes.
end of the day when we self-empower ourselves and we start saying to ourselves, even though in this bad thing happened to me, I will not let it affect my future. I live with it like an armor of pride. I wear my scars because I've got a lot of scars from being in hospitals a lot during my life. But I wear these scars like tattoos or an armor to show how
Badges of
strong I
yeah,
am.
badges of honor,
They're my
right?
badges of honor.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't need to go to the scouts and I don't need to go and get tattoos. You know, I look
Yeah.
at my own scarring on my, like, look here on my hand, I've got all the scarring where I've been in ICUs and had other needles put in me and poked and pronged. But at the end of the day, I look at all this and I'm so grateful that I have these flaws, because my flaws are my strength for my future. where I tell myself daily, if I can go through this, I can face any other battle coming in the future as well. And if we can just tweak kids, all those children out there, 5-year-old kids who may be scared going to school for the first time, or struggling with parents that are ill, or they've got sibling rivalry or neighborhood gangs or whatever's happening in their own environment. If we could only get it to the kids at 5, where they say to themselves, you know what? I'm not going to let all this external energy affect my internal core. And it's when we get to that internal core is when that magic truly does begin.
Thank you for sharing all of that. That's beautiful.
Thank you for having me. I'm so
Yeah.
honored. You know, I cannot explain to you how privileged I feel right now to be able to communicate with you, because, you know, I'm just a humbled little single mother in Australia, in Brisbane, Australia. And, you know, the work that you're doing is absolutely amazing. I cannot tell you how proud I am of what you're doing and where you're going. You know, it's amazing. It truly is amazing work. So thank you so much for wanting me to be a part of that. You know,
No,
when I got your
that-
email yesterday, you shocked me. It was actually,
this
wow.
paper, I'm reading to you right now. This Harmony Power Certificate of Award goes to Dr. Lynda Cramer, being awarded for this dedication, commitment, outstanding efforts in promoting harmony in the world. And I'm going to send this to you by email. It'll be digital. It'll come to you. You could print it out as you wish, and it becomes yours. But it's for me personally, which these are given out in the thousands, right? One day it'll be millions. And but
Absolutely.
it's rare that I hand them out personally. But I do that when I see somebody as a public figure like yourself, who's really putting yourself out there all the time. You open yourself up. You open yourself up to everybody, and you're doing all you can to make people aware of what's going on inside, the divine that's in us, the divine we're connected to, regardless of people's belief system. It's an important thing. It's a beautiful thing. And
Yes.
I tell people, listen, even if they don't have a belief of any sort, they know love exists, and that's in us. So if that's what they want to
Absolutely.
believe, that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. I don't have any judgment with any of that. I had near-death encounters as well. I didn't cross over, but I had the words of God speak through me. My last time I almost died was a couple of years ago. I had a neurological attack on my body from I had an allergy to a vaccine, shingles vaccine to be exact. I suffered for 2 months, and I screamed in my basement crying to the divine because I didn't want to die. And the words came to me: don't judge yourself, don't judge others, don't judge people who judge. Like, it was this whole thing about judgment and releasing all
Yeah.
this judgment. The next day, 80% of all my pain was gone. And then the next day after that, I found the right doctor who got rid of the 20% through steroids, and I was 100% better. And then I was doing like full splits because I do these exercises. Like my body opened up. It's like my heart, mind opened, my body opened up more. It was a crazy thing. But that's been my life. I've had many spiritual. We'll be talking for hours in connections and stories. But yours, like I said, for a near-death experience, it was beautiful. And that 10-minute video you made was like, wow. I'm like, I want to show a lot of people that video because I was like very, it was so pure and direct and powerful. And
Well,
that's what
thank
people
you.
need to know.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm on YouTube now as my name, Dr. Lynda Cramer. I'm on YouTube. And you know what you just said about don't judging, and I'm going to go there. I've got a book, it's called 5 Years in Heaven. And this picture on the front with these 3 beings that I saw,
Yes.
that was the words that they said to me. They said, you're not here to judge. And for you to just say that as well. And so that was
Yeah.
that same synchronicity, that same commonality that I look for with like afterlife experiences that people have. And it's true. We're not here to judge. We're not here to
No.
judge. We just accept and allow others to be who they are. You know, try not to, it's only ego at the end of the day. And when we get past our ego and we say, well, who am I on a spiritual level? And what am I here to accomplish? It's always our life lessons about being understanding, compassionate, appreciative, grateful, thankful, and most of all, love, you know? So
Well,
that's what I preach.
the judgment is a disconnect from the one we are. As soon as I judge, now it's like saying we have a disconnect.
That's
Does that make
right.
sense? So the
Yes,
wholeness and the oneness,
exactly. You know,
it
and
cuts us
in
off
that
from God. It cuts us from the
and in that
divine.
state, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, please.
in that, yeah. I was just going to say, in that state, how can we ever have unity or equality? It wouldn't exist without all those like heavenly attributes. So that's
100%.
that's what I teach people. You know, what
That's
you're doing amazing work. And I can't tell you how privileged I am to actually have met you now. You know, it's truly my honor today to be a part of the magic that you're creating as well. So I
you
thank you so
are.
much.
Very much are. Highly synergetic. And it's an honor to give you this award today, and honor to do this interview with you and for the world to hear. It's just beautiful. I appreciate you being on this broadcast so much.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I am actually, I don't usually get lost for words, but today I am because I am so humbled by just what I do. I just share my truth, and that's why it's hard for me to accept any sort of gratitude coming back because I know it's a humbling experience and I've got to learn how to do that. But, you know, I'm here more for the collective than for just what I do. That's where I'm at. I'm at the collective of our global humanistic consciousness. That's what I'm here for.
And it's important though today, just to conclude this, is that today's really, it's a celebration of us all collective. That's something we always do, but today's taking the time to acknowledge you and me acknowledging you. That's important too, because they go inside and say, thank you. I matter in this reality, and I have given so much, and I'm celebrating my giving to humanity, and somebody's recognizing my efforts. That's important too.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.